Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I had no introduction to the guitar at all, other than I used to go home on a Friday with a friend of mine who had a TV set, and he let me watch Popeye, and there was a guitar always there on his sofa with only 3 strings on it, and I used to mess around with it, and he said, "Do you want to borrow it?" And I said, "Yes, please." And somehow I got the rest of the strings, and he never asked for it back. I didn't know what electric guitar was. I thought that electric was radios and steam irons and electric irons and cookers, and what the hell's an electric guitar? You know, we already know what a guitar is. And then you find out it has a wire that pick up and it's amplified. Ah, now I get it. So buying the electric guitar is only the first stage. You've got to get all the other stuff with it. That's what was on all the records that I loved, you know, like the Elvis Presley records, and Gene Vincent records, all the rock artists of the mid-50s that featured heavily on the, you know, like really trebly sounding guitar. That's what caught my ear. If you got a circle of friends that are guitar nerds, like I had, you'd find out, oh, this was a Gibson, that was a Telecaster, and that was... You know, it just became a life quest, finding out who made those noises, who recorded them. And Les Paul, of course, was there right up. He was the instigator right in the late 40s, with a slap echo and a very trebly sound. Up to that point, one hadn't heard the trebly sounding guitar. They were very muted, you know, almost sort of smooth sounding jazz guitar. The slap echoes are born, and rock and roll was on its way. Buddy Holly, I think many rock guitarists have mentioned this album as the Chirping Crickets, where the crickets are standing on the front, but they're proudly holding this Strat, and I thought, I've got to have one of those. So then there's another quest, you know, the telly was no good, I wanted a Strat. And then I found out that all the Elvis Presley records had a Gibson on it. Where the hell are we going to get all this money from? I started off with a 25-pound guitar, which was probably about $30, $40 back then. Piece of rubbish it was, but it was good enough for me, you know. It felt great compared with the homemade one that I made. I found out that Fender had a range that was just about, you know, reachable. Like, I think the Esquire was really reasonably cheap. It was still way beyond what I had, but it was the cheapest. Really, really great guitar. So it was a Strat, really. That was the icon, really. And then when I saw Hendrix play one, I thought, that's it. I already played one before I ever knew about him, like 5, maybe 8 years before. And I thought, that's, you know, he's making the right noises with that. So I went back on it and stayed with it. I've only ever bought one guitar. The other just sort of came down the chimney somehow.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?